My name is Isaiah, and I'm a videographer here at IFC Media, and today we got some news. Stopped at my place, Image One camera, and we bought something.
Wow!
EOS R5C. Now, let's get into this. First off, I just want to say forgive me because I've never really done a video like this before. I've wanted to for a really long time. You can ask my wife. And so I didn't do an unboxing officially. Look at the mic, bro. That is because I wanted to test out the camera, make sure that I like it first. I did wrap it up to make it look aesthetic. Didn't do a good job. But yeah, look at this. We have the Canon R5C. So I switched from Sony to Canon. Now, as I'm talking about this, I'm going to start building out the rig for the Canon R5C. This is my favorite part of the camera right there. Boom. I don't know. Just looks aesthetically pleasing. That way we're not just staring at me talking to the screen the whole time. If you hear my cats in the background, I do apologize. They are crazy. Now, first and foremost, a huge shout out to Image One Camera for getting me the camera on time and fast. I think I ordered it and got it within 3 days or something like that. Who's counting? You know, it's like when you order something off Amazon, you're just constantly looking. Now, I do want to get into why I switched, but first and foremost, I want to say that Sony's great. I think Sony is probably one of the best cameras I've ever used, aside from Canon. Now, I've used Nikon before. I've used Fuji. We currently have a Fuji camera. I've used, Panasonic, GH5. I've used a lot of cameras in my experience. And Canon and Sony, obviously, leading brands for a reason in many aspects. Not all, but many. And so, yeah, we're going to build out the small rig. So yeah, Sony is great. I think first and foremost, anybody can talk about their low light capabilities, their autofocus, and that those two right there for video especially are winners. They're game changers. Don't get I shot with the FX3 and the Sony ZV-E1 for about a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half. Absolutely loved it. I have no complaints about Sony at all. The switch was methodically thought out. I was like, okay, you know what? I need to really think about this. And it was a tough decision. Don't get me wrong. The thing is I love the Canon ecosystem. And so, forgive me. This is my first time putting this on. Cats are going crazy in the background. It makes for a nice, pleasing home video. But it was tough. Now, to give you a little background on me, I learned film first, film photo, as many of us do. Learned back in high school in 2013, and that was on a Canon AE1, not the program. I did, everything manual as film, I believe, should be. Now, but the thing is that when I started getting really into photography, which was in 2015, technically, I think. I bought my first camera, bought the T5i. A lot of us know about the Rebel series if you've been around the camera scene at all. You've heard of it for sure. So I went from the T5i, had that for a few years, and then I went to the Canon 80D, which was my favorite camera ever. I didn't even realize it was a crop sensor. At that time, I was kind of just like, I just want to shoot. And then I bought my first mirrorless system in 2018 when the R came out. Sold my 80D, which that camera was really nice. And then
One eternity later.
got it. So yeah, I was shooting on the Canon 80D, sold it for the EOS R. Then I bought the R5. So I had the R5 and EOS R for roughly, the R5 came out in 2019, I think. Don't remember. I had it for a few years, and my wife actually still uses the R5 to take photos with. And then I switched to Sony in towards the end of 2022. Now, Had it for about a year and a half, did a lot of weddings with it. I think we shot about 30 weddings or so last year. It was nice, don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved the camera. I had a great time with it. I think it was fantastic for what it gave me and stuff like that. The low light was sick. But then I just really started thinking, probably towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, like, man, I really miss Canon. And I just had this weird feeling that Canon was going to start releasing new cinema stuff. Now, at the time of making this video, a couple days ago on June 5th, Canon had just released their new cinema, EOS C400. Now, that camera is crazy. It's sick. Reminds me a lot of the FX6, which a lot of people use the FX6 so combined with the FX3. It was exciting because it kind of validated my purchase of the R5C. And it just made a lot of sense for me to go ahead and make that purchase. Sorry, my wife walked out and I get awkward. My wife has been investing a lot into Canon, and so it kind of just made sense. Instead of buying dual lenses for dual purposes, it's like if we can just have a larger inventory for one system, it would just make sense. Now, what I'm about to say is all opinion based. One reason why I made this switch was because I actually missed the color science behind Canon. Now, look, you can match any colors that you would like. Like, you can match C-Log 3 to S-Log 3. You may have a little bit of trouble when it comes to like the higher end, like S-Log 2 and C-Log 2. If I'm not right on that, then forgive me. But I will say that, Sony offers great color science behind what they do. So does Canon. So I think they're very, very much similar. I haven't really looked into Fuji that much. I heard it's great. Nikon, I haven't really looked into it as well, not for video at least. For both of those, I've shot photo on both of them before. Both are great cameras, but we're gonna kind of focus on Sony and Canon a little bit because that's where I came from. It's what I have the most experience with and stuff like that. Now I just got the back piece on that. I don't shoot at 8K. I shoot at 4K with, all eye. So it's not the, highest quality of a video when it comes to, data and stuff like that. But, it's great for what, delivers for me and stuff like that. And that's all I needed. If my clients are happy, I'm happy. So I was kind of bummed because after a while, like, I love Sony, don't get me wrong. And I'm going to continue to say that because I stand by Sony. I think they're a great camera company. I think they do everything really well. Now, one thing that was kind of just lackluster, in my opinion, was just the fact that everybody was shooting with Sony. And it was like, it's cool. Obviously, they're shooting with them for a reason. But in my opinion, I was kind of like, you know what? Like, I'm a creator. And as a creator, we push the limits. We try new things. Now, investing in a completely different ecosystem is crazy. Don't get me wrong. But I love what Canon has been producing for me. I've been shooting with this camera for a little over 3 weeks now. At the job that I work at, I've done a couple lifestyle things with it. And I just love it. Like, it feels so good to pick it up, put it in my hands. It feels like, honestly, it feels like I'm back home. Like, Sony, I kind of felt like an imposter a little bit. Wasn't completely sold all the time. Like, and I love cameras. I love gear. Ask my wife. She's like, anytime I'm home and we're just chilling, like, I have YouTube on watching stuff. Now, it's good and bad. It's good because I get to learn a lot. It's bad because I'm like, oh, well, now I need this. Now I need that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, look, like, switching is not that big of a deal. Investing in a camera band it's all, at the end of the day, it's going to be your choice. Now, Sony might be the easier choice right now because of lens options, because of camera options, because of just the aesthetic. I will say Sony carries the aesthetic part of it. Now, once again, this choice was tough. I might get some opinions in the comments, especially with my friends. Everybody I know in the industry right now that shoots video is all Sony. Like, I only know maybe one person out of like the 50 people that I know personally and through Instagram that shoot Sony. And so for me, it was kind of like, oh shoot, like it's kind of intimidating because if everybody around you is shooting the same thing, it's like, well, I mean, I guess I must invest into it. But I think as a creative person, going against the grain sometimes is beneficial. Now, Canon just launched their newest cinema camera, the C400, if nobody saw that, on June 5th. And they also just launched a new lens with that as well, which is the 35mm 1.4. I mean, I think Canon does a great job. I think they fly under the radar as well. Aside from the aesthetics and the low base ISO, you can argue that.
Did I stutter?
Good, this is good. I'm going to grab a glass of water.
The dual base ISO, you can argue the dynamic range on the cameras, but I think both do really well. Right now I'm shooting this on the Canon R8. I've completely just began to shoot again with Canon. To talk a little bit more about the Canon R5C, I will say that the battery does suck, so hey, we gotta rig it up a little bit. But what's funny is that everybody's like, oh, I love Sony because it's so compact, but then they rig it up and then it becomes just like any other cinema camera. So that's what's to me, I'm like, okay, obviously this can make your camera work great. I personally like it a lot because I shoot handheld a lot, so having a heavier camera actually helps just a little bit. Now, I'll run my monitor up here on top. I really got to know these terms. I have my low profile adapter here, my handle, my monitor, my Atomos Shinobi and stuff like that. So I think for me, making the switch once again was tough. But I'm really excited for what Canon is about to release. I don't know any insight. I don't have any secret details. I think at the same time, like I said, Canon and Sony do everything well. And so hope you guys enjoyed coming to have this talk with me today. This isn't the most aesthetic studio session or setup you've ever seen, but it works, and I can't wait to continue to shoot with this. I definitely will be posting some examples soon. We have a few weddings coming up this year, so I'm really excited to get to use this, really excited to get back into Canon. And so with that, thanks for tuning in. If you want to see more camera content like this and whatnot, please subscribe, comment down below, or just hit us up if you know us. We'd love to chat and stuff like that. If you have any more questions, please let us know. Once again, my name is Isaiah here at I've Seen Media, and we can't wait to continue shooting. That was the lamest outro.